For today's leftover, I'd like to talk about the topic sitting on a gold mine, unaware. If I had to pick the most important virtue in the Bible, and in fact, the most important word, it would be love. Love is the most important quality to develop in our lives, not as we define it, but as Jesus himself defines it, because he gets the last word in our lives. I've often wondered if Christ's love for us and our love for each other is so immeasurably wonderful, and it is, then why do we fight it so much? We prefer to love ourselves rather than to love Christ or each other. Jesus said that love is the greatest commandment, and it houses all the other commandments. He said that it's the highest goal of the church. So we could ask, how are we doing? Not so good. Love, as Jesus Christ describes it, is a constant theme in the Bible, and especially the center of the New Testament epistles. The Apostle Paul describes love in very concrete terms in 1 Corinthians 13. And he adds that the great works of Christian ministry are wasted effort without love. The great messages are meaningless without love. Love, serving others, is the one thing that matters most. There's no substitute for this kind of love, even though countless Christians are constantly battling for superiority and supremacy and for turf. Love is extremely hard for us because it is the opposite of self-love. It's not the opposite of hate, it's the opposite of love of self. If we really take Jesus seriously about the golden rule and the rest of his teaching, we have to admit how far away we are. We don't need to hear it again. We've heard it all our lives. We need to understand how important it is. So I keep wanting to return to the three verses that I've already mentioned that I believe are somewhat of a full condensation of the entire Bible, of how real life with Christ actually works. And I'm referring to Philippians chapter 1, verses 9 through 11. And I've already referred to them, but Paul considered the Philippian Christians some of the strongest Christians that he had ministered to. They were deeply in love with Jesus Christ already, but they were just at the tip of the iceberg in discovering the measureless love of what Christ can do for them and do in them. Paul begins his 3-verse, actually 1-sentence prayer for these Christians. He begins, that your love may abound still more and more. There is no end in sight to the degree of love that we can experience from Christ and be filled with in our own souls. So much love that so much love that normal Christians will consider that there's something wrong with somebody who has that much love. We're too stupid to live selfish lives, but they have no idea what they're missing. When we actually do develop God's kind of love, we'll want more and more. We can never get enough. Far too many Christians miss out because they've falsely been taught that they already have it. They've been told it comes with the package. When we receive Christ as Savior, we receive all the love we'll ever get. And anyone who knows that person knows that that's not true. Real love, in verse 11, is the fruit of a righteous life. It's the fruit of a righteous life, and it's only available through Christ, Paul says. He is the single source in all the universe of that kind of love. So going back then again to verse 9 of Philippians 1, Christ gives real love more and more through real knowledge and all discernment. Through real knowledge and all discernment. That word, real knowledge, is a special word that's used in our relationship with Christ many times, but it carries the idea of a knowledge that's been integrated into a person's very soul. And it's become a part of who they are. It's much more than academic knowledge. Dr. Michael Polanyi, the brilliant scientist turned theologian, calls it personal knowledge. The difference between being able to list the fruits of the Spirit in Galatians 5:22 and 23, and actually being the fruit of the Spirit. Real knowledge of Jesus, as Paul uses the term, is getting to know him in the infinite depth of his character and his infinite wisdom, and being able to trust him completely and to rest in peace. And if we're honest with ourselves, we all can see how far we have to go to really know Jesus that way. The other word is, for getting that kind of love, is all discernment. The world-class surgeon has studied and practiced for years to have understanding and insights into his practice that no one else has. He can do things, and he can diagnose things that no one else can diagnose. The expert scientist, the pianist, the musician, the artist, the builder, and so forth have all taken years to integrate their skills and their observation to a level that can be described as discernment. They see the big picture almost instantly, and it becomes second nature to them. Dare I ask, how many Christians put that much work into their relationship with Christ, into knowing the life-changing and eternal benefits of learning to know Jesus so well that his life becomes second nature to my life. Knowing Jesus to that degree is, it can be compared to opening a door that you don't know where it goes, and then being surprised behind that door. Sometimes an unknown door might lead to a tiny closet and there's nothing there. Sometimes it may lead to a vast warehouse filled with exciting and wonderful treasures. We can open the door, sit inside the door, and complain about our lives. Or we can begin to explore and learn and be told, this is all yours. All of this treasure, all of this gold, The more wonders we find, the more the warehouse keeps going and going and going. Like, like a whole country, like Narnia. If we don't start the journey, we will miss out on the riches of Christ, so great that we can't even imagine. And so Paul prays that your love may abound still more and more and more and more in internalized knowledge and godly discernment. And then the message continues, but that's all for this time.